At 11 p.m. on a Thursday night, I loaded the last box into my car and placed an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was an itemized invoice for $75,600 and a single sentence. Consider this your 30-day notice. By morning, I was 3 states away, and my phone had 7 missed calls. 3 weeks later, my parents lost their apartment. They had to move in with my sister Ashley, the same sister who'd just bought a beautiful 3-bedroom house with their help. That house became very crowded very quickly. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up to where this really started, because the truth is it didn't begin on that Thursday night. It began 3 years earlier, on a Sunday afternoon in my parents' living room in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was 26 at the time, working as a marketing manager for a mid-sized firm. I'd worked my way up from an intern position, putting in 60-hour weeks, taking every certification course I could find, attending networking events on weekends. By 26, I was making $115,000 a year before taxes, which was good money. Not Silicon Valley money, but solid for Charlotte. My sister Ashley was 22, still finishing her senior year at UNC Chapel Hill. She was studying communications, had changed her major 3 times, and was on her 6th year of what should have been a 4-year degree. But that was Ashley. She was the baby, the creative one, the free spirit who needed time to find herself. That Sunday, my parents called me over for dinner. Mom made her pot roast, which should have been my first warning sign. She only made pot roast when she needed to ask for something big. Dad cleared his throat halfway through the meal. Maya, we need to talk to you about something. I put down my fork. What's wrong? Mom reached across the table and patted my hand. Nothing's wrong, sweetheart. We've hit a bit of a rough patch financially. The restaurant. My parents had owned a small Italian restaurant in downtown Charlotte for 15 years. It had been doing well, or so I thought. The commercial rent went up, Dad continued. Significantly, 25%, and we've had to replace the walk-in refrigerator, the oven, and half the dining room furniture in the past 6 months. It's been expensive. We had some savings, Mom added quickly, but we used those for Ashley's tuition this semester. And with the restaurant expenses, we're coming up short on our apartment rent. I felt my stomach drop. How short? We're 3 months behind, Dad admitted. The landlord gave us until the end of the month to catch up or we're facing eviction. 3 months. That was $6,300. I did the mental math quickly. I had about $12,000 in my savings account, half of it gone. I can help with the back rent, I said slowly. But what about going forward? Can the restaurant cover it? Absolutely, Dad said immediately. This is just temporary. We're getting a lot of corporate catering orders coming in. The restaurant is doing better every week. We just need to get over this hump. Mom squeezed my hand. We wouldn't ask if it wasn't urgent, Maya. You know that. And it's just temporary. Just until the catering contracts start paying out. Maybe 2, 3 months tops. I should have asked more questions. I should have asked to see the restaurant's books, the bank statements, the budget. But they were my parents, and they'd never asked me for money before. And the way they said temporary made it sound so finite, so manageable. Okay, I heard myself saying. I'll transfer the back rent tomorrow. The relief on their faces was immediate and profound. Mom actually cried a little. Dad hugged me and told me I was saving them. Ashley, who'd been quiet through the whole dinner, looked up from her phone and said, "That's really cool of you, Maya." Cool. Like I just picked up the tab at a restaurant, not saved them from homelessness. We'll pay you back, Dad promised. Every penny, once we're back on our feet. I transferred $6,300 the next morning. That afternoon, Mom called me. Maya, I hate to ask, but could you possibly help with this month's rent too? Just so we can reset and start fresh next month with the restaurant income? Just this month. Just to start fresh. I transferred another $2,100. And Maya? Mom's voice got softer. Maybe don't mention this to Ashley? She's stressed enough with finals. We don't want her worrying about money. You know how sensitive she is. Of course. Protect Ashley. Keep Ashley stress-free. That was always the priority. The next month, the call came again. Just 1 more month, Maya. The catering contract got delayed in processing, but it's definitely coming through. And the next month, the payment is coming, but there was an issue with their accounting department. Just 1 more month. And the month after that? Somewhere around month 6, I stopped believing in the temporary part. But by then, I was in too deep. Every time I thought about stopping, I imagined my parents on the street. I imagined having to tell people that I let my own parents become homeless because I wanted to save money for a new car or a vacation. So I kept paying $2,100 every single month, automatically deducted from my account. I'd set it up as an auto pay just so I wouldn't have to think about it, wouldn't have to make the decision every 30 days. My own rent was $1,900 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. I was paying more for my parents' place than my own. After taxes, my $115,000 salary came out to about $78,000 take-home. Between my rent, their rent, car payment, insurance, groceries, and student loans, I was saving maybe $400 a month. The $12,000 I'd had in savings was long gone. I stopped going out with coworkers, stopped buying new clothes, stopped doing anything that cost money. When friends asked me to dinner or to concerts, I said I was busy with work. It was easier than explaining. Meanwhile, the restaurant seemed to be doing fine. Every time I drove past it, the parking lot was full. When I visited my parents, they talked about how busy they were, how many customers they were serving, how the online reviews were glowing. Business is really picking up, Dad would say. That's great, I'd reply. So does that mean you'll be able to take over the rent soon? Oh, soon, definitely. We're just waiting for a few more invoices to be paid. You know how corporate clients are with their payment schedules. Meanwhile, Ashley was living her best life on Instagram. Weekend trips to the mountains, concerts, new clothes from boutiques that I couldn't afford to even walk into. When I asked her how she afforded everything on her part-time barista income, she just shrugged. Mom and Dad help out sometimes, she said. You know, for gas money and stuff. They don't want me stressed while I'm finishing school. Gas money? Sure. Year 2 passed the same way. $2,100 every month, like clockwork. $25,200 a year. I got a raise at work, which just meant I could maybe start saving a little bit again. Maybe I could finally replace my 10-year-old Honda that was making concerning noises. My coworkers talked about their vacations to Europe, their new apartments, their wedding plans. I smiled and nodded and felt like I was watching life happen to other people through a window. You should really invest in some good furniture, my colleague Jamie said one day when she came over. I mean, this IKEA stuff is fine for college, but you're a marketing manager now. You should have a place that reflects that. I looked around my apartment with its secondhand couch and the coffee table I'd found on the curb. She was right. But I also paid rent for 2 places on one salary, so here we were. Around month 30, I went to the restaurant unannounced. It was a Tuesday evening, and the place was packed. There were new light fixtures I didn't remember. The chairs had been reupholstered. There was a new sign out front. Everything looked prosperous and successful. Dad was in his element, greeting customers. Mom was managing the front of house in a new dress. They looked happy. They looked financially stable. Wow, I said to Dad when he had a free moment. Business really is good. Booming, he agreed proudly. Best year we've ever had. That's amazing. So, you'll be able to start covering rent again soon? His expression changed, just slightly. Well, we did just invest in these renovations. We need to make that money back first, and we want to make sure we have a cushion before we take on the rent again. You understand. I understood perfectly. The restaurant was doing well enough for renovations, but not well enough to pay their own rent. But I didn't say that. I just nodded and went home and stared at my bank statement and wondered how I'd become an ATM that my parents visited once a month. Year 3, month 36. $75,600 total. That's when Ashley called me, breathless with excitement. Maya! Oh my God! You have to come over to Mom and Dad's right now. I have huge news. I drove over, exhausted from a 14-hour day at work. I'd been working on a major campaign launch and had barely slept in 3 days. The whole family was in the living room. Ashley was practically vibrating with excitement. Mom and Dad were beaming. Tell her, Mom urged. Ashley grabbed my hands. I'm buying a house. I blinked. What? A house. A real house. It's a 3-bedroom in Dilworth, you know, that nice neighborhood near downtown. It's adorable, Maya. It has a backyard and everything. And I got approved for the mortgage. I was still processing. Ashley was 25. She'd graduated a year ago and was working as a social media coordinator, making maybe $40,000 a year. How did you get approved for a mortgage in Dilworth? Those houses are expensive. Well, Ashley said, glancing at our parents, Mom and Dad are co-signing, and they're giving me the down payment as an early inheritance. Isn't that amazing? The room tilted slightly. How much is the down payment? I heard myself ask. $45,000, Ashley said happily. I know, it's so generous. I told them it was too much, but they insisted. They said they wanted to help me get started in life on the right foot. 4,500美元. They had $45,000. While I'd paid $75,600 over 3 years. That's great, Ashley, I managed. Mom came over and hugged me. We're so excited. Ashley is finally settling down. We're so proud of her for being responsible enough for homeownership. Responsible. Ashley, who still couldn't remember to pay her credit card on time and had overdrafted her checking account 3 times in the past year, according to the family gossip. You must be so proud of your sister, Dad added. Yeah, I said. Really proud. Ashley showed me pictures of the house on her phone for the next 20 minutes. It was beautiful. 3 bedrooms, renovated kitchen, hardwood floors, everything I'd been dreaming about but couldn't afford because I was paying rent for 2 places. You should come see it once I close, Ashley said. Maybe you can give me decorating advice? You always had good taste. Good taste and IKEA furniture. I left as soon as I could without being rude. In my car, I sat in their driveway and did the math again. $75,600 I'd paid. $45,000 they gave Ashley. They could have paid their own rent for over 2 years with what they gave her for a house. When I got home, I finally did what I should have done 3 years ago. I called their landlord. Hi, yes, I'm calling about the apartment at 142 Oak Street. My parents rent it. Yes, Maya Chen. I'm the one who's been making the payments. The landlord was friendly. Oh yes, I appreciate how reliable those payments have been. Can I ask when my parents plan to take over the payments again? A pause. Take over? I'm sorry, I don't understand. As far as I know, you're on the lease as a co-signer and primary payer. It's been that way since they signed 3 years ago. Primary payer? I thought I was just helping temporarily. Well, the lease has your information as the responsible party for payment. I assumed it was a family arrangement. After I hung up, I pulled up the lease documents they'd asked me to sign just in case. Documents I'd signed without reading carefully because I trusted them. I was on the hook legally for their rent. This wasn't temporary help. This was a permanent arrangement they'd locked me into. I sat there in my apartment with my secondhand furniture and my IKEA shelves and my 10-year-old car, and something inside me cracked. They had money. They'd always had money. The restaurant was doing well. They had $45,000 to give Ashley for a house. But they'd let me pay their rent for 3 years because it was easier than paying it themselves. Because I was responsible, reliable Maya who never said no. Who never made waves. I called my parents. Mom answered. Hey, sweetheart, did you have a nice time earlier? Isn't it exciting about Ashley's house? Mom, I need to talk about the rent. Oh, Maya, not tonight. We're celebrating Ashley. Can we talk about this later? No. I need to talk about it now. You have $45,000 to give Ashley, but you've had me paying your rent for 3 years. A long pause. Maya, that's different. The money for Ashley is from our retirement fund. We can't use that for regular expenses. But you can use it to buy her a house. She's buying a house, Maya. A house. That's an investment. That's her future. You, of all people, should understand the importance of helping family. I've given you $75,000. And we're grateful. So grateful. But Ashley needs help right now. She's just starting out. You're established. You have a good job. You're independent. There it was. That word. Independent. When are you planning to start paying your own rent again? Maya, I don't appreciate your tone. After everything we've done for you, raising you, supporting you, this is how you talk to us? I've paid your rent for 3 years. Because you wanted to help. Because that's what family does. We didn't force you. You told me it was temporary. Things change, Maya. We didn't expect the restaurant expenses to keep being so high. And now with Ashley needing help with her house, we just don't have room in the budget. So I'm supposed to pay indefinitely? We're not asking you to pay indefinitely. Just until we get more stable. You know we'd do the same for you. Would you? Would you give me $45,000 for a down payment? Maya, that's not fair. Ashley needs it more. You're so independent, you don't need that kind of help. You've always been the strong one. Strong. Independent. Responsible. All code words for, you'll handle it so we don't have to. I need to go, I said. Maya, don't be dramatic about this. Ashley is so excited about her house. Don't ruin this for her. I hung up. For 2 days, I didn't sleep. I went to work. I smiled at meetings. I approved campaign drafts. And inside, I was doing calculations. With $2,100 a month freed up, I could save $2,000 a month. In a year, I'd have $24,000. In 2 years, I could have my own down payment. I could have my own life. But every time I thought about stopping the payments, I imagined my parents calling, crying, desperate. Imagined them losing their apartment. Imagined being the daughter who abandoned her parents. Then I drove past Ashley's new house. She was having a housewarming party. I could see through the window, all our relatives were there, celebrating her achievement. Her beautiful new house that my parents had made possible. No one was celebrating me for keeping my parents housed for 3 years. That night, I made a spreadsheet. I listed every payment I'd made, every date, every transaction. I calculated the interest I'd lost by not having that money in savings. I calculated what I could have had if I'd invested it. $75,600 in payments. Approximately $8,000 in lost interest and investment returns. $83,600 total opportunity cost. I made a copy of the lease that had my name on it. I saved all the text messages where they'd said just 1 more month. All the promises to pay me back. Then I started looking at apartments in other states. Far away, where I could start over. I found a marketing position in Denver. Better pay, better opportunities. They offered me the job within a week of applying. I gave my notice at work. Gave my notice to my landlord. Started packing. I didn't tell my family. On my last Thursday in Charlotte, I went through my apartment one final time. Most of my furniture I'd sold or donated. Anything that didn't fit in my car wasn't coming with me. At 10 p.m., I made one final stop. I drove to my parents' apartment with an envelope. Inside the envelope was a printed invoice. Every payment I'd made, itemized by date and amount. At the bottom, I'd written, "This is your 30-day notice. As the primary payer on your lease, I'm ending the automatic payments effective immediately. The total amount above represents what I've paid for your housing over the past 3 years. Consider it a gift, but the gift stops now. I've accepted a position in Denver and will be out of state by morning. I need to save for my own future now. I need to be less independent. Don't contact me until you're ready to have an honest conversation about what family actually means. Maya." I left it on their kitchen counter. I'd kept a key from when they'd asked me to water their plants last year. By 11 p.m., I was on the highway. By midnight, I'd crossed the state line. I turned off my phone. When I finally turned it on again, 2 days later in a hotel room in Kansas, I had 47 missed calls and 89 text messages. "Mom, Maya, what is this invoice? Call us immediately. Dad, this is unacceptable. You can't just abandon your family. Ashley, what's going on? Mom is freaking out. Mom, you're being incredibly selfish. How could you do this? Mom, your father and I raised you better than this. Dad, we need to talk about this rationally. Call us. Ashley, Mom says you're leaving them homeless? That can't be true." And then, at the end, a voicemail from Dad. His voice was different. Strained. "Maya," the landlord called. "They said you terminated the payment authorization. We got a notice. We have 30 days to start paying or we're evicted. You can't do this. We don't have this money. The restaurant. It's not as profitable as we said. We've been using your payments to cover the restaurant's overhead. If you stop, we'll lose everything. The apartment, maybe even the restaurant. Please, call us. We need you." There it was. The truth, finally. The restaurant wasn't doing well. They'd been using my rent payments to keep the business afloat. For 3 years, I'd been subsidizing a failing business while they pretended everything was fine. While they gave Ashley $45,000 for a house, I didn't call back. More messages came over the next week. "Mom, Maya, please, we're your parents. You owe us this." I blocked their numbers. Relatives started calling, cousins I hadn't talked to in years, my aunt, my uncle. "Maya, your parents are in trouble. How can you do this to them?" "Do you know what they've done to me?" I asked one cousin. "They're your parents. They raised you. Family helps family. I've helped for 3 years while they gave my sister $45,000. Where's her help now?" Silence. "They told me Ashley needs the money more because she's just starting out," my cousin finally said. "You have a good job." I had a good job. In Charlotte, where I paid rent twice over so they could pretend their restaurant was successful. I blocked them too. Week 2 in Denver, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Ashley. "Maya, please don't hang up." "What do you want, Ashley?" I didn't know. About the rent. About how much you were paying. Mom and Dad told me you were just helping out occasionally. I paid their rent for 3 years. $75,000. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear. They told me you offered because you were doing so well. While you got $45,000 for a house? I told them I didn't need that much. I could have gotten a smaller place. But they insisted. They said they wanted to help me because I'd had such a hard time in school, and you were always so capable and independent. Stop saying independent like it's a compliment. It's not. It's code for, Maya will handle it so we don't have to. You're right. Ashley was crying now. You're completely right. I never thought about it. I took what they offered because they're our parents and I thought they had the money. I didn't question it. Why would you? You were the priority. You've always been the priority. They got an eviction notice, Ashley said quietly. They're going to lose the apartment. The landlord won't negotiate because you were the one making payments and you're gone. So they'll have to find something they can actually afford. They're talking about moving in with me. There it was. The consequences arriving. Your beautiful 3-bedroom house with the backyard that they bought you? Maya, please. I'm not defending them. I'm not. But they're our parents. They're going to lose everything. Not everything. They still have the restaurant, right? The one that's supposedly doing so well? A long pause. The restaurant is closing. It's been losing money for 2 years. They were using your rent money to cover the losses. Now that you're gone, they can't make payroll. They're shutting it down next month. So there it was. The whole truth. Not only had they been lying about the restaurant doing well, they'd been actively losing money and covering it with my payments. For 2 years. That's not my problem, I said, and I was surprised by how calm my voice was. I know it's not. But Maya, what do you want me to do? They're going to be living in my house. I can't say no. They'll make my life miserable. Then maybe you'll understand what the last 3 years were like for me. I'll have to support them. On my salary. While paying my mortgage. Welcome to my life. This isn't fair. Finally, something we agree on. It isn't fair. It wasn't fair 3 years ago, and it's not fair now. Ashley was openly sobbing. I don't know what to do. Figure it out. You're 25. Time to be independent. I hung up. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt like a terrible daughter, a terrible sister. But mostly I felt tired. And underneath the tired, a tiny spark of something I hadn't felt in 3 years. Freedom. I started my new job. I loved it. The team was great, the projects were challenging, and the pay was $135,000, more than I'd been making in Charlotte. With 1 apartment rent instead of 2, I had money left over for the first time in years. Real money. I bought new furniture, not IKEA this time. Real furniture that would last. I bought new work clothes. I joined a gym. I went out with coworkers and didn't have to calculate the cost of every drink. I opened a high-yield savings account and watched the balance grow every month. $2,500 in month 1, $5,000 in month 2. By month 6, I had $15,000 saved, more than I'd had in my account in 3 years. 2 months after I left, I got an email from Ashley. Subject: please read this. Maya, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know what's happening. Mom and Dad moved into my house 3 weeks ago. They were supposed to take the guest room, but Dad says his back hurts on that mattress. So they took my master bedroom. I'm sleeping in the smallest bedroom. They're not looking for jobs. They're recovering from the stress of losing the restaurant. Mom watches TV all day. Dad applies to 1 or 2 jobs a week, but turns them down if they're beneath him. They're going through my groceries like locusts. They borrowed my car twice without asking because Dad says theirs is too old. They criticize everything. My decorating, my cooking, my boyfriend who comes over. They told him I'm financially irresponsible because I needed their help with the down payment. They keep saying this is temporary, just like they told you. That they just need to get back on their feet. But I don't think they have any intention of leaving. They found out how much I make and decided I can afford to help family. I'm drowning, Maya. I understand now. I understand everything. And I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to fix this. I just needed you to know that I finally get it. You tried to tell me and I didn't listen. I thought you were being dramatic. I thought you were exaggerating, but you weren't. If anything, you undersold it. I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to tell them they need to find their own place. I don't know if I'll be strong enough, but I have to try. Thank you for showing me it was possible to say no. Ashley. I read the email 3 times. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me felt sad for Ashley. She genuinely hadn't known what she was signing up for. And a small part of me, the part that was still the big sister, felt protective. But I didn't respond. Not yet. Ashley needed to figure this out herself, the way I'd had to. She needed to learn to say no. She needed to understand that being loved and being used are not the same thing. 4 months after I'd left Charlotte, my phone rang from Mom's number. I'd unblocked her a few weeks earlier, more out of curiosity than anything else. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Hello. Maya. Mom's voice was different, smaller. Thank you for answering. What do you want? Your father and I would like to talk. Really talk. If you're willing. About what? About everything. About what we did. What we asked of you. How we treated you. I'm listening. Not on the phone. Could you maybe come visit? Or we could come to Denver? You're not coming to Denver. A pause. Okay, that's fair. Could you come here? We're still at Ashley's, but we could meet somewhere else if you prefer. Why now? What changed? Mom took a shaky breath. Ashley gave us an ultimatum. 2 weeks ago. She said we had 3 months to find our own place and jobs, or she was selling the house and moving out of state. She said she learned from you that love doesn't mean letting people drain you dry. Good for Ashley. And? I prompted. And your father got a job. At a hardware store. Part-time, but it's something. I'm looking too. We're going to marriage counseling. The therapist asked us to write down everything we'd asked you to do over the past 3 years. When we saw it all written out, she started crying. Mom, we used you, Maya. We used you terribly. We told ourselves we were just accepting help, that you offered, that you could afford it. But the truth is we knew. We knew we were taking advantage. It was just easier than making hard choices. Easier than downsizing or closing the restaurant earlier or telling Ashley no. And when you left, we told everyone you abandoned us because that was easier than admitting what we'd done. What you'd done, I repeated. We stole 3 years of your life. 3 years you could have been saving for your own future, your own house. We stole your money and your time and your peace, and we gave Ashley a house with it. We're ashamed. Your father is ashamed. We don't expect you to forgive us, but we needed you to know that we finally see it. We see what we did. I sat there in my Denver apartment, in my new furniture, looking out at the mountains I'd never have seen if I'd stayed in Charlotte. Part of me wanted to stay angry. Part of me wanted to tell her it was too little, too late. But mostly I was just tired of carrying it all. I'm not ready to visit yet, I said finally. Maybe not for a long time. I understand. And I'm not giving you money. Ever. For anything. We wouldn't ask. We're not asking. If you want a relationship with me, it starts with honesty. Real honesty. That means you tell me the truth about your finances, about your plans, about everything. And it means respecting my boundaries when I set them. Yes, absolutely yes. I'm serious, Mom. The first time you guilt-trip me, the first time you compare me to Ashley or call me selfish or tell me what family should do, I'm gone. Permanently. I understand. And you owe Ashley an apology too. A real one. She's not your retirement plan. We know. We're working on it. I took a breath. I'll think about visiting, maybe in a few months, maybe next year. I don't know yet. Whenever you're ready, or never if that's what you need. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. How's Dad? He's dealing with a lot of shame. He wants to talk to you too, but he doesn't think he has the right to ask. He doesn't. Fair enough. We sat in silence for a moment. Maya, one more thing. What? I'm proud of you. I should have said that 3 years ago. I should have said it every day. You built a successful career. You're independent and strong and capable, and instead of celebrating that, we punished you for it by taking advantage of it. But I'm proud of you. And I'm especially proud that you had the strength to walk away. My eyes stung. I hadn't realized how much I'd needed to hear that. Thanks, Mom. I love you. Even if you never forgive us, I love you. I love you too. After I hung up, I sat there for a long time. The anger wasn't gone. I don't know if it ever would be completely, but it felt different now. Less like a hot burning thing and more like a scar that might fade with time. My phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. Did Mom call you? I gave them your number. Hope that's okay. Also, I signed up for therapy. Turns out being the favorite child doesn't actually mean you're healthy, just that you never learned boundaries. Who knew? Love you. Miss you. No pressure to respond. I smiled and typed back. Proud of you. Boundaries are hard. Keep going. 3 dots appeared then. Thanks. Your approval still means more than theirs. I'm working on that too. I looked around my apartment, at my new couch, my plants, my life that I'd built by myself, for myself. I thought about the past 3 years I'd lost and the future I'd gained. Was it worth it? The loss, the pain, the burning of bridges. I pulled up my banking app. Savings account balance, $18,432. Retirement account growing steadily. No auto payments draining away to anyone else. Yeah, it was worth it. I'd learned something crucial. Helping family is beautiful when it's chosen freely and reciprocated with respect. But being used by family and calling it help? That's not love. That's just exploitation with a prettier name. And I was done letting people exploit me even if they shared my DNA. Especially if they shared my DNA. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your family is teach them that you're a person, not a resource. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away at 11 p.m. with an invoice and a one-way trip out of state. I don't regret leaving that envelope. I don't regret any of it. I only regret that it took me 3 years and $75,000 to learn that family and being used shouldn't mean the same thing. But better late than never. And hey, at least now I can afford the therapy to work through it.